The atmospheric entry was not supposed to be this violent. Alara's knuckles turned pale lavender as she gripped the control panel, her third eyelid reflexively sliding closed against the blinding flames surrounding her small research vessel. The ship's AI blared warnings in her native tongue, but they hardly mattered now. Gravity had her firmly in its grip, pulling her toward the blue planet's surface with unforgiving determination. Navigation systems critical, stabilizers offline, impact imminent, the emotionless voice announced. Alara's antennae flattened against her silver-streaked hair in distress. This was meant to be a simple observation mission, collect botanical samples from orbit, analyze the planet's biodiversity from a safe distance, and return home. No contact, no landing, absolutely no crashes. "Computer, transmit emergency beacon to the Celestial Academy," she commanded, her melodic voice steady despite her fear. Signal blocked by atmospheric interference, unable to establish connection. The ground rushed up to meet her with terrifying speed. Alara braced herself, wrapping her slender arms around her torso, her 7 fingers interlocking in the protective gesture of her people. The impact came with a deafening roar, metal tearing, crystal viewports shattering. Pain erupted across her body before everything went black. Dr. Alex Hayes had been tracking the unusual meteor since it changed course, something meteors certainly weren't supposed to do. When it crashed in the forest just 2 miles from his private research facility, he wasted no time grabbing his emergency kit and hiking to the impact site. What he found changed everything. The crater wasn't large, but the object within it was unmistakably artificial, a vessel of some kind, its metallic surface etched with symbols unlike any human language. Steam hissed from ruptured conduits and a strange, sweet-smelling liquid pooled beneath the wreckage. "Hello," Alex called, approaching cautiously. "Anyone's alive in there?" The question felt absurd on his lips. This was the stuff of science fiction, not reality, yet something compelled him forward, his heart racing as he spotted movement within the damaged craft. A panel shifted, sliding aside with a hydraulic sigh, and a figure emerged. Alex froze, his breath catching in his throat. And somehow he knew it was as she stood about 5 feet tall, humanoid but clearly not human. Her skin was pale with an iridescent quality, catching the sunlight like mother of pearl. Large, almond-shaped eyes blinked at him, violet irises adjusting to Earth's sunlight. 2 delicate antennae protruded from her forehead, twitching slightly as she assessed him. "I come, peace," she managed in halting English before collapsing forward. Alex rushed to catch her, surprised by how light she felt in his arms. A dark purple fluid, blood, seeped through a tear in her silvery jumpsuit. "I've got you," he whispered, knowing she probably couldn't understand. "I'll help you." Her eyes fluttered open briefly, focusing on his face with an intensity that made him shiver. One 7-fingered hand reached up, touching his cheek with surprising gentleness before dropping away as she lost consciousness again. Alex made a decision then, one that would alter the course of not just his life, but potentially all of humanity. Instead of calling authorities, instead of alerting the scientific community to the greatest discovery in human history, he carefully lifted the alien woman and began the trek back to his facility. The forest around them seemed unusually quiet, as if nature itself held its breath at this momentous meeting of worlds. As he walked, Alara's form cradled against his chest, Alex couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't random chance, that something larger was at work. "Who are you?" he whispered to the unconscious visitor. "And why do I feel like I've been waiting for you my whole life?" Above them, the evening sky began to darken, stars appearing one by one, including one that wasn't a star at all, but a distant ship receiving a delayed distress signal from its lost botanist. 3 weeks had passed since Alex brought Alara to his secluded research facility nestled in the pine forests of Montana. The converted bunker, built to study extreme climate adaptation in plants, had become an unlikely sanctuary for the alien botanist. "The fluid concentration is remarkable," Alara commented, her English improving daily as she studied a specimen under Alex's microscope. Her antennae twitched with excitement, a gesture he'd come to find endearing. "On my world, Terrano, plants evolved with much less water. These cellular structures seem excessive." Alex smiled, allowing himself a moment to observe her. The iridescent patterns on her skin shifted subtly with her emotions, currently displaying a bright, curious blue. "Earth is about 70% water. I'm guessing Terrano isn't." "Less than 30%, she confirmed, looking up from the microscope. "It's why I was sent to study water-rich worlds. Our drought has lasted 3 generations. Their eyes met, and Alex felt that now familiar flutter in his chest. Working in isolation for years had prepared him for many things, but not for the way his heart responded to this woman from the stars. Your wound is healing well, he said, nodding toward the purple scar visible beneath her collarbone. He treated it with a combination of earth medicines and compounds from her emergency kit. Thanks to you, her violet eyes held his gaze longer than necessary. Though I'm not sure my people would approve of my current situation, contact protocols were quite clear. Alex moved to the security monitors, checking the perimeter cameras out of habit. And what exactly do these protocols entail? Avoid detection, maintain isolation, never reveal technological advantages. She rose, moving with that strange grace that reminded him she wasn't human despite her appearance. I've broken all three. You didn't exactly have a choice, Alex reminded her. Your ship is beyond repair. Alara approached him close enough that he could detect her unique scent, something like cinnamon and ozone. My rescue beacon will eventually reach my people. They'll come for me. The thought sent an unexpected pang through Alex's chest. How long? 6 months, perhaps a year. Her seven-fingered hand hesitantly touched his arm. Alex, I need to show you something. She led him to the makeshift garden she'd created in his laboratory, where she'd been cultivating both earth plants and specimens from her damaged ship. One plant stood out, a bluish fern-like organism that seemed to pulse with its own light. This is Lumina, native to Terrano. I've exposed it to compounds from your tomato plants. She gestured to where the alien plant had grown exponentially. The results are unprecedented. It's beautiful, Alex said, truly meaning it. It's more than beautiful, Alara whispered, her voice tight with emotion. This interaction could save my world from starvation. Alex, I think this is why the universe brought me here. Their eyes met again, and this time neither looked away. Alara's hand found his, their fingers 5 and 7, intertwining in a way that should have felt alien but somehow felt perfectly right. Maybe not the only reason, Alex murmured. As if drawn by some cosmic magnetism, they leaned toward each other. Their lips met softly, tentatively, an interstellar first contact of a much more personal nature. Alara's skin illuminated with a deep rose glow that lit the dimness around them. When they parted, both breathless, Alex rested his forehead gently against hers, careful of her sensitive antennae. I never expected this, Alara whispered, her voice trembling slightly. Neither did I, Alex admitted. But I'm starting to think your crash wasn't an accident. Maybe the universe knew exactly what it was doing. Outside the bunker's reinforced walls, a black government vehicle crawled slowly past the hidden access road, its occupant making careful notes about the unusual power consumption coming from what was supposed to be an abandoned research station. Someone was here, Alex announced, reviewing the security footage. Government plates, unmarked vehicle. Alara looked up from her work, alarm visible in the sudden amber flush across her skin. 2 months of hiding had made them both paranoid. Did they find the entrance? No, but they're suspicious. The power usage from your equipment is creating a signature. Alex ran a hand through his increasingly disheveled hair. We need to be more careful. Or perhaps it's time I leave, Alara suggested, though the idea pained her visibly. I could hide in the mountains until my people arrive. Alex crossed the room, taking her hands in his. That's not an option. The nights are dropping below freezing and your physiology isn't adapted for it. Their relationship had blossomed in their isolation, quiet evenings sharing stories of their worlds, working side by side on her botanical experiments, and nights spent exploring the surprising compatibility of their different biologies. The thought of separation made them both ache. I'm close to something remarkable, Alara said, leading him to her latest experiment. Look. On the laboratory table sat rows of earth plants exposed to soil samples from Terrano. Most had withered, but one, a humble potato plant, had not only survived but thrived, developing unusual purple nodes along its roots. This plant is producing a compound I've never seen before, she explained, her antennae quivering with excitement. It's synthesizing a water retention molecule that could revolutionize agriculture on drought-stricken worlds. Alex examined the readings on her alien tablet. This could help Earth too. Climate change has created massive drought zones across the planet. A mutual exchange, Alara said softly, both our worlds helping each other. Their momentary joy was interrupted by an alert from the security system. Alex rushed to the monitors. There's a car coming up the access road. His voice was tight with tension. Official this time, Department of Defense markings. Alara's skin paled to an ashen gray. They know I'm here. No, Alex insisted. They suspect something, but they don't know what. He grabbed an emergency pack they'd prepared for this eventuality. We need to move the critical specimens to the secondary lab. As they hurriedly transferred plants and equipment to a hidden section of the facility, Alex's mind raced through contingencies. If the government discovered Alara, she would become a specimen herself, dissected, studied, exploited. Working quickly, they sealed the hidden laboratory just as the facility's outer door alarm chimed. "Dr. Hayes," a stern voice called. "This is Agent Dominic Ward, Department of Defense. We need to speak with you about some anomalous readings from this location." Alex squeezed Alara's hand. "Stay here, don't make a sound." She pulled him close for a desperate kiss. "If they take me, promise you'll continue the research. Both our worlds need this." "They're not taking you anywhere," Alex vowed, then reluctantly pulled away to face the intruders. In the main laboratory, Alex met two stern-faced agents in black suits. "Dr. Hayes, we've detected unusual energy signatures from this supposedly decommissioned facility," Agent Ward stated without preamble. "Care to explain why you're conducting unauthorized research here?" "Personal projects," Alex replied with forced calm. "After the university cut my funding, I continued my drought-resistant crop studies privately." Ward's partner wandered the lab examining equipment. "And these unusual specimens?" he asked, pointing to some of Alara's Earth experiments. "Arctic variants," Alex lied smoothly, "plants adapted to extreme conditions." In the hidden room, Alara pressed her hand against the wall separating her from Alex, unaware that her distress was causing the bioluminescent properties in her skin to activate, creating a faint purple glow visible through the smallest of cracks in the hidden door. The pounding on the laboratory door came at dawn. Alex bolted upright from where he'd fallen asleep at his workstation, heart racing. "Dr. Hayes, open up immediately." Agent Ward's voice held no room for negotiation. 3 days had passed since the agent's first visit. They'd left suspicious but without evidence, placing a surveillance vehicle at the end of the access road. Alex and Alara had been frantically working to complete their research before the inevitable return. Alara emerged from the hidden room, her expression resolute. "They found us." "They found something," Alex corrected, checking the security feed. 6 armed agents surrounded the building, but they don't know exactly what. He grabbed her hands. "Remember the plan, take the samples and the research data. There's a tunnel that leads to the eastern ridge. I'll hold them off." "And then what?" Alara's voice cracked. "Hide in the wilderness until my people arrive. That could be months, Alex." The pounding intensified, accompanied by the sound of power tools attacking the security door. Alex pulled her close, memorizing the feel of her in his arms. "We always knew this moment might come." "Come with me," she pleaded, her skin pulsing with deep indigo emotion. "I can't, they'll hunt for both of us. I need to stay and misdirect them." He pressed his forehead to hers. "Your people need this research, Earth needs it too." A crash announced the front door giving way. With desperate urgency, they gathered the essential samples and data crystals. Alex led her to the hidden tunnel entrance behind a false wall panel. "This leads to a cave system. Follow it east until you reach the ridge. There's an abandoned fire lookout tower where you can hide." He pressed a backpack into her hands. "Supplies for 2 weeks. I'll find you when I can." Alara hesitated at the tunnel entrance, tears making her violet eyes shimmer. "What we discovered together, it's bigger than us. It could forge a permanent alliance between our worlds." "I know," Alex said, hearing boots in the corridor outside the lab. Her 7 fingers touched his face with trembling gentleness. "But this, what we found in each other, is just as important." "Dr. Hayes' final warning," Agent Ward shouted through the door. In that moment of crisis, clarity came to Alex. The botanical discovery was revolutionary, but the true miracle was the bridge their relationship had built between 2 worlds, a living proof that different species could not only coexist but find profound connection. "Wait," he said, an idea forming. "What if we don't run? What if we stand our ground?" Alara's antennae straightened in alarm. "They'll take me, study me." "Not if we control the narrative." Alex pulled her from the tunnel. "Your rescue ship is coming eventually. What if instead of hiding, we reveal everything, but on our terms?" "They're breaking down the doors." "Trust me," Alex pleaded. "Together, we represent something unprecedented, a peaceful first contact and a scientific breakthrough that benefits both worlds." The laboratory door splintered open as armed agents poured in, weapons raised. "Stop," Alex shouted, stepping forward with hands raised. "Before you do anything, you need to understand what you're walking into. This isn't a threat to national security, it's the greatest opportunity humanity has ever encountered." Alara, summoning remarkable courage, stepped out from behind him. The agents froze, weapons trained on the unmistakably alien woman. My name is Alara, she said calmly, her skin glowing with a steady, peaceful blue. I am a botanical scientist from the planet Terrano, and I have something your world desperately needs. The presidential science advisor adjusted his tie nervously as he approached the podium in the White House Rose Garden. Behind him stood Alex and Alara, along with a delegation of 5 Terranones who had arrived 3 weeks earlier in a ship that now orbited Earth, visible as a bright star in the daytime sky. Today marks 6 months since what historians are already calling the Botanical Bridge, the advisor announced to assembled press from around the world. The agricultural exchange program between Earth and Terrano has produced drought-resistant crops now being implemented in 30 countries. Early estimates suggest grain yields have increased by 40% in affected regions while reducing water consumption by half. Alex squeezed Alara's hand as they stood before humanity. Their gamble had paid off spectacularly. Instead of becoming a captive specimen, Alara had become an ambassador, her knowledge and the promise of mutual benefit convincing even the most skeptical officials. The journey hadn't been easy. There had been weeks of isolation, interrogation, and fear. But the undeniable value of their research had eventually shifted the dynamic from containment to cooperation. And now, the advisor continued, I present Dr. Alexander Hayes and Ambassador Alara, who will announce the next phase of the Earth-Terrano alliance. As they approached the microphones, Alex marveled at how much had changed. What began in fear and secrecy had blossomed into humanity's greatest adventure. 6 months ago, I crashed on your world by accident, Alara began, her English now flawless. Today, I stand before you by choice as the first ambassador from Terrano to Earth. Cameras flashed as she outlined the expansion of the agricultural program and the upcoming cultural exchange that would send human scientists to her homeworld. But today, we also announced something more personal, she continued, her skin flushing with a deep rose color that the world had come to recognize as her expression of joy. Alex stepped forward. Ambassador Alara and I are proud to announce that we have received approval from both our governments for the first interspecies marriage in human history. The announcement triggered a storm of questions from the press, but Alex only had eyes for Alara, whose antennae were quivering with happiness. Later that evening, they stood on the balcony of their diplomatic residence, watching the sunset paint the sky in colors that reminded Alara of home. Did you ever imagine this outcome when you found me in that crash site? She asked, leaning against him. Alex wrapped his arm around her shoulders. Never, I was just trying to help an injured traveler. And instead, you changed the course of 2 civilizations. She turned to face him. My people have a concept called cosmic threading, the belief that certain souls are drawn together across impossible distances because they have essential work to complete together. Like fate, Alex suggested. More like cosmic purpose. Her 7-fingered hand rested over his heart. Some connections are too important for the universe to leave to chance. Below them, the botanical garden that had been established in their honor bloomed with plants from 2 worlds growing side by side, different in origin but thriving together in shared soil. Like their relationship, it was beautifully improbable yet undeniably right. The crash that brought us together destroyed my ship, Alara mused, but it built something far greater. Alex kissed her gently, still marveling at how natural it felt despite their differences. A bridge between stars. Above them, the night sky revealed both familiar constellations and the bright light of the Terranone ship. A constant reminder that what had begun as one lost alien woman's accident had transformed into humanity's greatest adventure and most profound love story. As diplomatic teams on both worlds prepared for expanded contact and agricultural scientists implemented their revolutionary hybrids, Alex and Alara stood at the center of it all, living proof that differences could be not just overcome but celebrated, and that sometimes getting lost was the surest way to find exactly where you belonged in the vast cosmic plan.